Good evening and thank you for joining us. It's Thanksgiving Monday, but the holiday isn't just a time for gathering with family. It's an opportunity for volunteers at the Do Drop In to make a real impact on the community. Today, the nonprofit kicked off its annual turkey dinner, transforming the holiday into a feast of generosity, ensuring everyone enjoys a warm, delicious meal. Emma Chilton reports.
Thanksgiving is a time to be thankful for what you have and giving back. The St. Andrew's Do Drop In is doing just that by making sure everyone has food this holiday. Sloan Monahan, operations manager at Do Drop In, says the volunteers are working hard to prepare turkey dinner and are anticipating to feed about 700 people this year.
Oh, absolutely. So we're actually going to be starting at 11:45 today. We have 32 turkeys prepared for this that the RFDA prepared for us. We have 10 things of mashed potatoes ready to go, and we have 400 pieces of pumpkin pie.
Do Drop In and the volunteers have been steadily working these past 2 weeks to make sure the Thanksgiving dinner is prepped, cooked, and ready to go to anyone wanting a hot meal this Thanksgiving. Longtime volunteer Gary Christian is thankful to be giving back to the community.
Well, our family's done this for about 14 years now. We do Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter just to come out and help the people that need to get fed. There's a lot of people hungry out there. Today is a day of celebration, so we're here to help them to celebrate those days.
The meals served truly transform our community, especially on Thanksgiving. They provide not only nourishment, but a sense of belonging and warmth, reminding everyone that they are truly cared for and valued during this special time of year. Emma Chilton, TBT News.
Shelter House's new executive director is hoping to bring some changes to the facility, including newer programming and partnerships that'll help them be more involved in the community. Brendan Carlin has been in the role for 6 months now and spoke about some of the various challenges he's seen so far, as well as the services he hopes to implement in the future. Jessica Clement has the details.
It's been 6 months since Brendan Carlin started as executive director of the Shelter House, and while it's been an eye-opening and challenging change, he says overall it's going well.
I have worked in charity for the last 12 years. I worked for the RFDA. However, it's a different type. We weren't frontline. We distributed food to food banks and shelters such as Shelter House. And so now it's really, we're frontline. People are, you're working with the people every day who need these services.
Carlin notes so far the biggest challenge he's seen is the lack of funding. He didn't specify their funding goals, but explains that without adequate funds, they're not able to properly house individuals or staff the shelter.
When you're running on a skeleton staff, it's not safe for the clients and it's not safe for the staff either. The other thing that funding helps with is things like training. Some of the extras that you might not think about, but having a properly trained staff is really valuable, and we're working on it, and some of our staff have more training than others, but we'd like to get our staff more fully trained in different aspects.
Despite the challenges, Carlin says there is a push through, and Shelter House has a number of ideas and programs they want to implement in the future, including partnering with other organizations.
We're pursuing different avenues to get some of these programs off the ground. We'll be talking to individuals and businesses to hopefully get some help with some of our funding goals. And and it's not something that can happen, tomorrow.
He adds that a program they're hoping to bring back someday is the SOS van, which provided food and supplies and offered transportation to homeless individuals, but stopped the services back in 2022.
I want to start it as best we can to allow for flexibility as well, but also so that it can be on the road and can be sustainable. So that involves taking a look at all the old data and also partnering with other organizations as well. Maybe we could have a nurse on the van, or maybe we could have other types of supports. So those are all just questions that need to be figured out first, and then the funding piece can be pursued.
Carlin finished by saying they're ready to get back out into the community, and he's feeling ambitious for Shelter House's future. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
2 residents from Fort William First Nation were treated for possible smoke inhalation after a cooking fire got out of control this weekend. Thunder Bay Fire responded to the call at Squaw Bay Road and on arrival encountered large amounts of fire sweeping through the house. 4 pumper trucks and a command unit responded to bring the fire under control. Both residents were released by paramedics, and 2 pets were also rescued during the incident. Thunder Bay Fire wants to remind the public that if they encounter a fire, to evacuate immediately, call 911, and not put themselves in danger trying to fight the fire. Thunder Bay Fire Rescue received 342 combination smoke and carbon monoxide alarms this past week. The devices come from Enbridge Gas through a long-standing partnership aimed at improving home safety and reducing fire and carbon monoxide deaths.
So the first line of defense is to ensure that your equipment is operating properly. Second line of defense is to have these sensors installed into your house. So in the event that something does occur, it'll notify you and you can get out and get into a safe situation.
The Safe Community Project Zero program is run through the Fire Marshal's Public Fire Safety Council. This year, it'll provide more than 14,000 smoke and CO alarms across 75 Ontario communities. Devices are available for those who may not be able to afford them and can be obtained by contacting the closest fire station. Thunder Bay Fire Chief Dave Paxton says there's no reason not to have a working smoke and carbon monoxide detector in your home.
Yeah, things have changed now, right? So smoke alarms now have a 10-year life cycle on them. You don't even have to change your batteries anymore. So the convenience of them are there. We need to have them in their homes. You need to be woken up in the middle of the night when something goes wrong and to allow yourself a good early escape.
We try to go door to door. We picked 2,500 homes. We're trying to go to the downtown cores where people may not have them, but like I say, that's the number one line of defense. If we can, any fire fatality that we've come across, usually it's because there's not a smoke alarm in the residence. So by having them, it gives you the time to get out safely before the fire gets too big. So it's very important.
2 Northwestern MPPs had a back and forth during the estimates of the Ministry of Northern Development. Kiiwetinoong MPP Saul Mamakwa questioned Minister Greg Rickford on the Dryden Mill's involvement with the Northern Energy Advantage program. Justin Hardy has more.
Is that a no or a yes?
I'm sorry.
Is that a yes or no?
You'll have to go back to the original question.
Kiiwetinoong MPP Saul Mamakwa posed a few questions to Ontario's Minister of Northern Development, Greg Rickford, during the estimates in September. Mamakwa's questions were centered around the Dryden Mill and its involvement in the Northern Energy Advantage program.
Can you confirm whether or not the Dryden paper mill is one of the annual recipients of funding through the Northern Energy Advantage program? The second part is, can you tell us exactly how much funding the Dryden paper mill receives through the NEAP program, or the NEAP, and what conditions are attached to the funding?
Rickford answered Mamakwa's questions by stating that the NEAP has a number of participants and that the purpose of the program is to move industries to cleaner and greener ways of operating. Mamakwa re-asked his original questions, saying that the minister's response had not answered them. After further questioning by Mamakwa, Rickford confirmed that the mill does take part in the program.
The Dryden Mill is a participant in the Northern Energy Advantage program.
How much?
And it can fluctuate from year to year, but the important part of it is, of course, that like all of the other facilities that are profiled in the participant list, they ensure that they're making every effort to be a cleaner and greener operation.
The minister did not state how much the mill receives through the program, but a post from Mamakwa on Facebook states that they have received nearly $252,000 in rebates since August 1st, 2023. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
An event focused on Indigenous business development was held in Thunder Bay this past week. The Anishinaabe Business Professional Association organized the National Indigenous Bioeconomy Summit. The summit brought together Indigenous community leaders, industry experts, and government representatives to encourage collaboration and ways to face challenges within the forest industry. President of the ABPA, Jason Racevich, says they have a number of goals for this summit.
The other is looking at the federal government's $5 billion commitment to the Indigenous Loan Guarantee Program. We'd like to see an allocation of that loan guarantee program go towards Indigenous-led businesses.
I think you have had a similar sentiment and a growing sentiment now for First Nations. You know, nothing for us without us, and nothing in our forests without us.
The summit also featured panels from First Nations youth and a session about government supports. Thunder Bay pizza lovers will soon have yet another option for their favorite dish. Red Swan is about to join the growing list of pizza restaurants around the city. The Saskatchewan-based chain was established in 2013. It now has over 120 locations across the country, making it one of Canada's fastest-growing pizza franchises. According to the company's website, Red Swan Pizza will open at Brentwood Mall on West Arthur Street sometime this fall. No one from the company was able to provide details on a specific date for the opening.